Hello, and you're all very welcome along to the latest episode of Champ.ie's Road to Cheltenham Challenge, brought to you in association with Boylesports, Gowran Park Racecourse and Syndicates.Racing. Talking all things Cheltenham, the top performances over the 7 days, and answering your hashtag big questions every Monday. Barry and Rona will once again go head to head by giving one Ante-Post selection each week until the 2024 festival in March.
It is Lossiemouth who has the lead at the last. Lossiemouth is over by 2 lengths from centre. Then Gowran with 200 yards to race. It is Lossiemouth at the moment keeping up the gallop, keeping a 2-length advantage over Gowran, who's moved past centre, but neither will move past Lossiemouth, who wins the JCB Triumph Hurdle.
Showing over 44 points profit and 132 point stake since 2020, the Champ.ie Road to Cheltenham Challenge show is this season bidding to secure 4 years of Ante-Post profit in a row. The lads look forward to discussing your selection this week, and don't forget it's important to update your full Ante-Post portfolio in the comments to help us keep track. Give this video a like for more Cheltenham content, and be sure to subscribe to the Champ.ie YouTube channel, Ireland's premier racing podcast. Enjoy the show.
Boylesports. Don't just bet, choose wisely.
So, hello and welcome back to episode 14 of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge with myself and the Golden Groom. It's been more than a week, Golden Groom, as we, due to unforeseen circumstances, we didn't put out a podcast last week, but great to be back in the hot seat. And of course, less than 3 weeks to the Cheltenham Festival, 2 weeks tomorrow until the Supreme Novice Hurdle Roar. Now, we do have a little bit of catch up to play because, as you can see, this episode number 14. So, our lucky listeners are going to get us Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday at 8 p.m. every single evening for the next 2 weeks. And then, of course, the Monday before the Cheltenham Festival, we'll be putting in our last selection, and we still both have to play our captains as well. So the challenge really hotting up, and so we've plenty of players still left to get into the team sheet. The Cheltenham Preview Night circuit well and truly underway as well. And it's getting exciting, Ronan Groome.
Yeah, it's getting exciting. It's only, as you say, 2 weeks away. So we're pretty close now, as you said as well. The preview evenings are in full flow on coming online and stuff. I did one myself on Saturday morning at Fairy House. Was good, in with Robbie Power and Dennis O'Regan and Mark Boylan, who is obviously with me in the field as well. So that was good. And you're starting to hear people come out with their usual bullish claims about certain horses. So I'd say it's important you take a pinch of salt with these preview nights, but I find them good fun to listen to. So only just around the corner now, the old festival.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll be tackling a different Cheltenham team topic every single episode between now and the Cheltenham Festival. So as you can see, this episode number 14 with a different topic Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday this week, and a different topic Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And of course, our last chance to play on the eve of the Cheltenham Festival, Monday, the 11th, I do believe, Ronan Groome. That is the Monday before the Cheltenham Festival. Right, of course, a proud mention to our proud, partners this season as well, Gowran Park Racecourse. It was brilliant to be down there on Red Mills Day. Fantastic turnout. Eddie and the guys got down there. Brilliant day, Roland. It was super to preview the car before racing. Will be down there on the 9th, of course, Shamrock Chase Day, as Eddie has teamed that rugby and racing. I think Ireland are playing England in Twickenham that is same Saturday. It's the Saturday before Cheltenham, of course. So you're looking forward to being down there on that day. Gowran Park Racecourse. Boylesports, our betting partner, teamed up with the Shark Cannon today, I see, Ronan Groome. So we might be able to get Shark on the podcast, maybe coming up to Cheltenham. And Syndicates.Racing, of course, just to mention as well, for Jack Cantillon and the guys, if you want to avail of that. Of course, Champ.ie discount if you don't want to get involved in Syndicates.Racing. Choose your racehorse, and into that discount bar at the checkout, put Champ, all caps, to get €50 off your first share today. So it's getting exciting, Roland, and plenty happening on the podcast as well, building up to the Cheltenham Festival with, of course, the next 2 Thursdays we have scheduled podcasts coming out as well. We're going to be looking ahead to the championship races, the novice races, of course, chasing and hurdlers, and to mention as well the handicaps as well. So we're going to do the same as what we've done last season on the channel, and that's a dedicated podcast to the championship races, the novices, and then the handicaps finally, with special guests coming your way. Right, Roland, topics this week. We've taken the WillieMullins favourites at the festival, and County has 11 favourites. There's a couple of crossovers, obviously, with the likes of Ballyburn favourite for both the Ballymore and the Supreme Novices Hurdle. Fact to file similar, although Willie has confirmed the target, the Brown Advisory. And El Fabiolo as well is in the market for the Ryanair. That's not going to happen. But I suppose we're going to go through each of the Willie Mullins favourites on the channel today before giving our week 14 selections. And we're going to, I suppose, say whether it's a back, a lay, or maybe leave it alone. So first favourite, Ballyburn. Let's have a look at the Supreme Novice. For the Supreme Novices Hurdle, he's priced up at 11 to 10. Do you think he goes the Supreme route? What will Willie Mullins do? And would you be with or do you oppose?
Generally with Ballyburn, wherever he goes. Do I know where he's going to go? Absolutely, don't have a notion. I think that it's very hard to call. I don't think Willie might know, but he's not going to let anyone know by the time, in time. I suppose you probably won't know until Sunday, Dex, just before the Tuesday. For the purposes of the Supreme, assuming just taking that he runs, if he did run here and he was declared, I'd be with him. I'd rather be with him than against him, to be honest. I think he's rock solid. He's the way he runs style. He's just really kind of high cruising speed horse, lots of class. We've already done it over 2 miles. I think he's shown a lot more than Tully Hill and Mystical Power. Tully Hill, I would respect, but I could see him making a few jumping errors still. And Mystical Power, I'm just not sure of the form of his win in the Moscow Flyer. I think that might just be a little light, and Ballyburn just looks rock solid. I'd be with Ballyburn wherever he goes. If he goes barring Bingham, I think I'd be with him as well.
Snap. I wouldn't like to be backing a horse for win claims. Everyone all right there? I would like to be backing a horse for win claims against Ballyburn in either of the races. I have to agree with Jen. I think he will go to the Supreme Novices Hurdle. I'm going to stick with my original gut feeling. I think the exchange guys have been hinting that the last couple of hours as we're recording here on Monday the 26th. But I just love the change of gears that he showed over 2.5 miles actually at Leopardstown on his penultimate run. And then what he done last time was absolutely brilliant as well at Leopardstown. He's not short of pace. I'd be maybe a small little bit concerned. Would he over race in something like a Ballymore where maybe they don't go as quick early in the race? He can be quite keen. His jumping really improved from run 2 to 3. He has enough experience for the Supreme Novice. And look, I wouldn't be surprised if Willie ran the 3 of them who are, I suppose, up there towards the front end of the market, Ballyburn, Tully Hill and Mystical Power. If they all ran, it wouldn't surprise me. Then you're down to the likes of Firefox. I don't think Jericho the Repine. I'm just surprised they haven't maybe rolled the dice with this horse in something like a county hurdle of 132. On ratings, he shouldn't be winning this race. But I think then again, Nicky Henderson has a cracking record in the Supreme Novices Hurdle as well. But yeah, no, I would be the same as yourself in both races. I wouldn't like to oppose him. And in actual fact, wherever he turns up, I might just roll the dice and put him in. We'll be talking Bankaracas on the episode prior. But I wouldn't put anyone off putting them in maybe a double with Lossie out on day 1 of the festival. And she's the next favourite we're going to talk about, Roland. 4 to 7. Can she get beaten? Will she?
She's a tough one for me now because I was doing this race the other day, and I put Ashrow Diamond into the challenge. And I've actually lost a lot of confidence in that. I was just watching back her race the other day at Doncaster, and which is with Gallimore. So obviously disappointing the other day. I'm just finding it hard to take on Lossie Mount now. I think not only is she the standout filly or mare even in the race, it's not the strongest renewal, I don't think, as well. Previously, I would have probably wanted to take her on. I thought she was a bit overrated after she won first time out. I just think she really quickened off a slow pace there and was made look really good for all that she obviously there was merit in what she did first time out in beating those types of horses. But I just don't think this is strong enough contest to take her on. So I'd probably leave her if that's an option. I'd just leave her. But guns ahead at this point, I'd have to go with her instead of taking her on, even at
For-
a cramped price now.
For anyone who's looking to get involved in Fav doubles on the Tuesday, look, maybe wait till the day, but I definitely wouldn't put anyone off putting Lossie Mount in there. Although the one stat she's to overcome a couple of stats, Ronan, one of them being only one of the last 16 winners haven't previously won over 2.5 miles. I mean, she has to prove it over the trip. She absolutely tanked in the Triumph Further last year, albeit that was on the new course. And, coming down the hill, if she was running away with Paul Town, and she, for her to go and put in a performance that she did, I thought was superb. And she was worth the wait, wasn't she? I think that was the words of Paul Town. And off the back of that win at Cheltenham on a reappearance, and given time, I suppose looking at her run, there's every possibility she could be the guts of a stone better than these. Ashrow Diamond, she's going in the right direction. I don't think she'll be good enough to beat Lossie Mount. 4-7, you might get a bigger price on the day, and if you do, she'd have to be of interest for multiples. So, like you, Ronan, I'm with Ballyburn. I'm also with Lossie Mount. You said you'd leave her alone. Embassy Gardens, the next of the Willie-Mullins favourites. I'm against him. What about you?
Yeah, I'd be against him as well. He looked okay winning that day at Naas, but didn't beat much. Looks pretty short now for what he's done in what could be a decent sized field, and I just like a couple in the race already. We mentioned Three Card Bragg a few times. Corbett's Cross is obviously looks like he's going here now. Salvador Ziggy has a nice profile for the race. I think Broadway Boy will run here. I think there's enough there collectively to be wanting to take on the favourite, and especially at his price now, I think he's way too short, actually.
Yeah, just look, favourites don't have a good record in the National Hunt Chase. I think only one winning favourite in the last 10 renewals. And the other worry for me would be about this horse's experience. I mean, he's only had the 2 runs over fences. Course form would also have to be a worry. I mean, he disappointed majorly last year, didn't he, at the Cheltenham Festival? I think he was pulled up, I do believe. So that would have to be a concern as well. And like Salvador Ziggy, quite like the chances of Gordon Elliott's runner. And I like the way he's come into 4-1 as well. We have the challenge at 10-1, Roland. We'll touch upon our portfolios a little bit later on in the show. But yeah, I'm against Embassy Gardens very much with Salvador Ziggy. Let's move on to day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. And a Factifile is confirmed for the Brown Advisory. Thank goodness, Ronan Groome. We haven't bought in the team sheet at 7-1. And he probably looks the standout, and it's hard to see him beaten, isn't
it? I'd be positive enough on Stay Away Faye as opposition. I think he's definitely his biggest threat, biggest danger. I think Grey Dawning could go Turners now, couldn't he? Monty Starr, that's a rancid price. That is for what he's done so far. Very little over fences. That's all chat. He'll definitely be a bigger price on the day. And then you're 16-1 bar basically, and you're searching for runners even. I think a few of these will go up or go down even. And yeah, well, look, what Factifile, it's a lot of hype, but so far he's looked really good. WillieMullins talks about him in the same kind of glowing reference that he talks about Facile Vega and State Man, and he's in that kind of camp. And he's just a really interesting horse, isn't he? Going over fences so far this straight away from bumpers last season to do what he's doing in bumpers last season. And obviously he was a chaser in the making and a stayer in the making. So he has the profile of a really classy sort. And I know obviously didn't have much to do at Leopardstown last time, but the times actually, if you dig a bit deeper into that race, were actually quite strong for how fast they were going there early on. And he's light on form, but put it this way, we're sitting pretty, I suppose, with the prices we have. And at the moment, a shade of odds on, you could easily see him actually going shorter than that, couldn't you? Yeah,
well, look, we're going to ask our partners, Boylesports, maybe this week, and maybe when we start previewing the novice chasers and hurdlers next week on the podcast, building up the Cheltenham, we might get a double, because it's the one double I'm interested in, Roland. Brown Advisory this year, Gold Cup next year. I think Factify. Look, the vibes, obviously, clearly very, very good. But what he done on the clock as well, over 2.5 miles. I thought the further he was going, the better he was. Couple of negatives as well against, look, Grey Dawn, and you mentioned going towards the Turners. The British have a good record in the Brown Advisory race itself. But I thought an interesting little stat. Look, 6 of the last 10 winners were British trained. And another thing to mention as well is 13 of the last 17 winners had run previously at the Cheltenham Festival. So how would the likes of Grey Dawning maybe deal with the hustle and bustle if he went for the race? Interesting as well, the real whacker, the only runner in the last 22 renewals to have started off, the only winner, should I say, in the last 22 renewals to have actually started off their chasing career over 3 miles to go on and win the Brown Advisory. So a negative on Stay Away Faye. I actually think he might get done for that tactical pace in that third quarter of the race. Factor finding, I have no issue there. Second in a champion bumper. Love the way he's been campaigned. And I have to say, I think he is, well, for me, of the prices at the moment, if you're looking to get involved in the short one, he'd be my banker of the meeting if you were going under 2 to 1. But I have to say, I'd be with him. So Ballyburn, Lossiemouth, Factifile, all with those favourites. We're against Embassy Gardens. Now it's time of El Fabiolo, Mr. Groome. Partial to an old clanger, but gets away with it, doesn't he?
He gets away with it, yeah. Bulldozes through the fences. Yeah, I've been against him a lot. Probably you noticed by now, Basil, and listeners and watchers would, but I don't know. I've lost a good bit of faith in John Bon. I think if they started off the season with maybe, say, for example, if we were to put this into lengths, maybe John Bon was 3 lengths off El Fabiolo at the start of the season. I think it near doubled that after what you've seen so far. John Bon seems to have gone one direction, and El Fabiolo, at the very least, excuse me, has stayed solid. And yeah, he has a mistake in him, but it doesn't seem to bother him. Maybe someday it will catch him, but I don't think that's a huge thing you can hold against him here until it happens, really. And I don't know, Edwardstone obviously is there as well, but if anything, he sets the race up for the 2 in behind now. If they go and do what they did previously with him, jump him off in front and let him go there, it'll just set things up. I don't think he'll go fast enough for El Fabiolo. He just seems to be able to cruise in behind, and he'll arrive there. He's able to sustain that speed longer than the others, and it's hard to be against him, isn't it?
Well, obviously, looking at the prices at the moment, 3 to 1 about John Bon to win the race. Edwardstone 15 to 2 with our partners Boylesports. If it was to give you 2 to 1 or bigger on Edwardstone in a match bet, would you take it? I personally think that would be of interest, and that could be the way into the race as a match bet between Edwardstone and John Bon. I love the change of tactics. I love the way he attacked his fences last time. And John Bon, for me, for a long time, he's been crying out for a step up and trip. I think Edwardstone is a quicker horse.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, you'd want 2 to 1, I suppose, in the match. That probably would be a price, but John Bon's obviously got to jump better, hasn't he? He's just got that cost him the last day. He's impressive in the way he was able to still get into the race after those clangers. And if you recall, before Cheltenham last year, he had a real lazy effort. Was it Warwick that day that I can't recall the horse he was against, but he nearly got beaten, didn't he? And yeah, he did step back like his effort at Cheltenham. Then he did progress from that, and he ran out Fabiolo to, put up a fight to him at least. So I'd expect a bit better from John Bon in this case. I still think obviously he's the number 1 threat to El Fabiolo. I think the gap, as I said, the gap is just bigger now than it was at the start of the season.
I think El Fabiolo will win. And spoiler alert, I am going to take on a couple of WillieMullins favourites, but the ones we're with at the moment, Ballyburn, Lossiemouth, Factifile and El Fabiolo, would not put off anybody. Maybe keep Ballyburn out of it because you don't. Well, you're getting no bet, I guess. But Lossiemouth, Factifile and El Fabiolo, I think the 3 of those are absolutely rock solid against Embassy Gardens. I'm also against Jasmine DeVoe, Ronan Groome. Patrick Mullins has only won the bumper once in the last 11 years. Can you believe that? If he goes with Jasmine DeVoe, it's surely a positive. I'm not saying it's a negative, but I think there's plenty. He's only had 1 run, this Jasmine DeVoe.
Yeah. It's, I Maureen, to my eye, I don't know. I don't really watch bumpers or don't pay that much attention. Maureen looked more impressive to my eye. And doesn't Gordon have the stronger hand this year collectively with his bumper horses? That seems to be the chat anyway. With this Romeo Coolio, who I was at Fairyhouse that day when he won, like didn't really win impressively at all, but got the job done. But the tension in the air in the parade ring after, it was palpable. They must think a huge amount of this Romeo Coolio. He's seen the next Sam Crow or that sort of thing. So, but can he win a champion bumper? I don't know. It's this race is just a mess, isn't it? It seems wide open this year. There's nothing sticking its head out of the way. The Yellow Clay is one people are starting to talk about on the preview nights. You can see him going off short price. Still,
he's the shrewd one, isn't he?
He seems to be the shrewd one. Yeah, the one that they've identified as the unlucky loser at Leopardstown. I'm not so sure he actually would have won if he met, got a clear pass.
Had an interesting little stat on the bumpers, Ronan, is 7 of the last 8 winners have already won an enlisted or graded bumper company. So he obviously ran in that particular race and was coming with his challenge. I thought he was going to be bang there. I mean, if he didn't get blocked, his momentum was completely halted in the run. And the way he picked up and ran to the line, he was hitting the line harder than any horse in the race. And Jedabum Machine. Obviously disappointing to see him get injured and not go on to Cheltenham. But yeah, the bumper's a tricky one. Look, I won't be nailing my colours to the mast, but if there's plenty, I would certainly be against at this point in time, considering his price. Jasmine DeVoe. He was very impressive. I'm not saying he wasn't, but he's only had the one run. And yeah, there's plenty in there against him. Jade the Grugy is one I wouldn't be against, Roland. And look, I don't know, what price would you get either of the front two winning the race on the day? Maybe a Jolly's bet if you were looking at a short one. Brighter Days Ahead or Jade the Grugy. I think one of those will win. And I'm leaning towards the one that we've been singing about all year, and that's Jade the Grugy. I think any ground, any trip, any course, I think she's an absolute weapon. And I just love her versatility, Roland. What I love the most about Jade de Grugy is the fact that she won a bumper over 1.4 miles on good ground in France. She's proven her stamina on really testing ground over 2.5 miles at Leopardstown, going left-handed. When they took each other on, herself and the Butcher Hollow, I think it was 8 hurdles from the finish. They almost had a full circuit to race, and they got racing very early, and she's absolutely trounced them. And that form has worked out well. And then they went to crawl at Fairyhouse in the Sol Arena, and she's picked up over 2 miles on soft ground, like a very, very classy filly. So I think she's got it all, this Jade de Grugy. And I think, look, they're raving about this Brighter Days Ahead, but I'm with Jade de Grugy. I think she's a cracking mare.
Yeah, I'm tending to go that way as well. I'm telling you, this Brighter Days Ahead is 100% going to go off favourite, because even reading today, I haven't read the story yet, I'm just literally back online, but there was a press morning at Gowran's, at Gordon's this morning, and I know I could just see the headline. I haven't read the story yet, but Jack Kennedy has said she's different. She just does everything easily. I'm guarantee it's about Brighter Days Ahead. You just knew straight away that's who he's talking about, and it's all the talk on the preview night so far is this horse, this mare, and I guarantee she goes off favourite. And I don't think there's much between them, to be honest with you. So maybe the advice with Jade de Grugy should be, if you like her, maybe wait for the day, wait for, obviously, Dex. You're not going to get much way back on her now anyway. Not much is going to change, and there's every chance she drifts out a bit. And like what you spelled it out there, what she's done, like it's maybe Brighter Days Ahead is a bit more experience, has shown a bit of more scope, having improved from her last run when she won at Navan that day. She jumped much better, but Jade de Grugy, what she did at Leopardstown was excellent, like just really strong from the front there, and then showed she has the versatility to pick up well, really professional. Then second time out at Fairyhouse, I don't think there's much between them at all, and if anything, I'd actually go with the Mullins mare, and his record in the race might just sway it. I think there's a good chance she's going to go off second favourite. So maybe the advice that would there is to just hang on and wait for Dex, and you could get something like 3-1 or 11-4 at least. Well,
if we thought Statement was unlucky, well, Dysart-Enos backers, Dysart-Enos owners and backers must feel very unlucky to have run into these two mares on this particular season.
What price do you think either of them would be in, like in a Barry Bingham or something like that? maybe take Ballyburn out. Maybe say Ballyburn goes supreme, and you're up against like Mystical Power or something in a Barry Bingham.
If Ballyburn went to the Barry Bingham, I'd give you a price of 4. Sorry, if both of them, Ballyburn and Brighter Days Ahead, even though she'd be getting weight, went to, if I was doing the prices in my head right now, I'd be saying 4-1 second favourite, Brighter Days Ahead. I'd still have Ballyburn as the favourite. If Jade DeGruchy went for the race, I would probably say she'd be a bigger price. But I would still say that she would take a bit of whacking. I'd actually back her against Ballyburn. I wouldn't back Brighter Days Ahead against Ballyburn.
Yeah, I thought that it just goes to show you the strength of the race that they'd both be players. Like I think you would have them both as players in a Barry Bingham, say, and it just goes to show you it's a pretty strong renewal of the Mayor's Novice this year, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so I'm with her as well. So Ballyburn, Lossiemount, Jade DeGruchy, Factified and El Fabiolo. I'm with him against Embassy Gardens. I'm against Jasmine Devoe. I'm also against High Class Hero, who is favoured for the Albert Bartlett, and I'm against Gallop and the Champ in the Gold Cup. So trying to move it on now, Ronan. Moving towards the Albert Bartlett, first of all, High Class Hero, non-graded form. He's 6-1 at the top of the market. WillieMullins, I think, has won 3 of the last 10 renewals. I like Lecky Watson in the race, but at the moment, I cannot for the life of me understand how this High Class Hero, who scraped over the line last day at Thurles, I think it was at Thurles, wasn't it, last time out? And I can't understand how it's 6-1 favourite for an Albert Bartlett. It's
favourite by default, to be honest, I'd say. Just on what he's done, there's nothing really has stuck his head above the parapet, which is often the case in this 3 mile race. It's probably the most open at the novice grade ones, I suppose, just by virtue of the fact that it's 3 miles and a lot of them are unproven stamina wise. I'd be against him, to be honest, as well, as most of his form is kind of somewhere. He's a Galway horse, wasn't he? Wouldn't he win it? His maiden hurdle at Galway, and it's kind of come on for that early season form. As I said, yeah, I just think he's favoured possibly by default, and I'd say that race is ripe for an outsider now. I think I have a couple in mind already, but yeah, he's soft enough favourite, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is. 8 of the last 10 winners have returned 14-1 or bigger. So it does throw up on it a bit of a price. And WillieMullins doesn't always necessarily win it with what's deemed as the first string. So Lecky Watson, look, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion either that Paul Townend rides this High Class Hero. I wouldn't be surprised if he went with Lecky Watson. He also, I think they were saying that, was it reading Tommy wrong? There was more support for him for the Bear and Bingham. So it'd be interesting to see where he rocks up as well. The further he was going at Naas, the better he was looking. So if he rocked up here, I wouldn't discount him, but High Class Hero, for me, I'd be taking him on at 6-1. Gallop and the Champ, I've made my feelings known about him. On his best form, should be winning Ronan Groome. My question mark about him is a career best on the 28th of December. Can he maintain that level of form throughout the season? He's got beat twice already by Fast or Slow, so you can't exactly say that he's the most consistent horse in training. And if he underperforms, I think he's going to be vulnerable, and he won't get an easy lead in a Gold Cup. Odds on should at least be odds against.
I would agree. Yeah, I'd agree. I think he'd hover around even money mark on the day. I just think, yeah, I just, for all the reasons you said, it's a Gold Cup. There are attritional races, and usually are anyway. There should be strong pace on. There's enough in there running for you if you want to take them on. Fast or Slow, more scope to improve again. You could definitely make the case for him at least getting closer. He probably has to prove his stamina over 3-2, but you'd still like his profile in general. He's still a progressive looking horse. Shishkin, I don't like him personally, but he has the class to get involved. He's definitely a player if you're taking on Gallop and the Champ that you want. I'd expect a bit more from Jerry Colombe over the 3-2. I think he possibly was below par at Christmas, or maybe that's his level, but you know, he's still a player as well, an outsider there that you have. And then like Long Press and Gentleman's Game, Hewick, they're all live, I think, you know, and Gallop and the Champ obviously has put in huge performances, set the standard this season. It's just hard to win Gold Cups, isn't it? And hold it against them. It's just a really hard race to win. 2 years in a row, especially if it's strongly run, and there's no reason why it shouldn't be strongly run. Album Photo, I suppose, got away with one that year. It was quite a soft Gold Cup, wasn't it, pace-wise? And he just quickened up and got home by half a length from, was it Santini, or I can't remember the horse that was second. But Galvin Deschamps, this looks this looks a reasonably strong Gold Cup. And I just couldn't have a horse that short, even for what he's done.
Yeah, Dino Blue, I'm mad to take her on, but I've no idea what I want to take her on with, because look, her runs at Cheltenham wouldn't flatter you. She's stepping up in trip to, an extra 4 on pedigree. That shouldn't be an issue. She's run okay last year in the Grand Annual over 2 miles. She disappointed in the Mayor's Novice hurdle when going off a short price favourite for that. I think she was well punted on the day as well. It looks a very, very weak race though. There's only been 3 renewals of the Mayor's Chase. It's a race I don't have a strong opinion in, and I'm just going to leave this one alone, Ronan Groome. I wouldn't take her on because I've found nothing to take her on with, and I certainly wouldn't be backing her at that price looking at her Cheltenham record.
Yeah, I'll be more positive with her now than I was previously. I think it's funny that we talked about these 2 races 2 in a row. If you're looking at even money, they're both the exact same price, aren't they? Even money, Dino Blue and Galvin Deschamps. If given the choice of 2, I know which one I'd be taking straight away there. Dino Blue in what's going to possibly be a soft race. She looks a class above these, and it's just whether she stays the trip, and there's every chance she does. She'll have class one today. I've Allegory Devassi in the portfolio. She's like the exact same price as she was at the start of the season, but I'd actually have her a bit higher if I was pricing it now. And I think she could be a bit bigger on the day. Limerick Glace is classy enough as well, but she's in the National, actually, interestingly. I don't know what they're thinking there long term. Bright Hill is interesting, as you say, each way, but I just think this Dino Blue is one of the more solid fabs. And definitely, if you're looking to back an even money shot on Gold Cup Day, this would make more appeal to me anyway.
Oh, I don't know now about that. Sam Majest is in the green and gold as well. Interesting runners. Only had the 4 starts over hurdles. Small field at Limerick. Obviously, the form has worked out with Noble Yates coming out and winning a great company at Cheltenham since. On that form, he's very well in. But that was bottomless ground at Limerick. It was a messy race. There was only 4 runners in the race. And we've only seen one winning favourite in the Martin Pipe handicap hurdle in the 15 renewals that there's been. Can you tell me who that favourite was, Mr. Groome?
In the Martin Pipe? It wasn't Sarah Deschamps, no.
It was, correct. Yeah, but I don't know. When you get into the race, that's the question. Depends. We'll know tomorrow. The top is 145, isn't it? Top weight in this.
145. No, he'll definitely get in. I think I was looking at the race last week. You would have got in off like 133 or something last year. He's in the Coral Cup as well. Oh, sorry, you mean he could be rated higher? Sorry.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah. He could be over the rating. Yeah. Which is interesting. So yeah, he's in the Coral Cup. He's favourite for that as well. I guess you would note. So the handicap entries will reveal all. And you're right to query the Limerick form. I guess Limerick form on that ground can often be a bit misleading. And fair enough, Noble Yates has done what he's done since, but there was a couple of horses in behind one you wouldn't be writing home about. I like another horse in this race in the green and gold, which I'll mention in another podcast as a big player. So you'd respect him, but at the prices now, you definitely believe in him.
Yeah, so let us know. Let's conclude first of all before we wrap up this section of the show. Come on to week 14 selections. Hope you enjoyed us dissecting the WillieMullins favourites at the Cheltenham Festival at the moment with Boylesports. 11 of the WillieMullins horses are favourites for the Cheltenham Festival. There's a couple of crossovers, obviously, with Ballyburn and Factor File, favourite for 2 races. And so is El Fabiola, believe it or not, favourite for the Ryanair. That's not going to happen. But to conclude, I'm with Ballyburn, I'm with Lossiemouth, I'm with Factor File, I'm with El Fabiola, Jade de Grugy. And I'm going to leave Dino Blue alone. I'm not going to actually put her into that category because I think there is negatives against her, but they're the four or the five, should I say, Ronan Groome, that I'm with: Jade de Grugy, Elfab, Factify, Lossiemouth, and Ballyburn. And to conclude from yourself, which ones are you with, and which ones are you leaving alone?
Basically with Ballyburn, wherever he goes, I can't see Al Fabiolo getting beaten. Factify, I think, will win as well. Jade de Grugy. They're the four I'd be with, and kind of indifferent about the others. And Dino Blue, sorry, to make it 5. And indifferent about the others or wanting to take them on.
So we've kind of more or less agreed on a lot of that, Ronan. I'm not sure if that's a good or a bad sign. Let's see if we agree in the next section of the show. Week 14, selections after this.
Grangy and Patrick Mullins.
McGree had justified favouritism, but sharp object out in front was ready for John McConnell and Alex Harvey.
Western victory, Silver Lark. Never read the finishing order.
Yeah, so it is time for week 14 selections. Make sure to get your selections down below for episode number 14. And don't forget, we're back with you on Tuesday, the 27th, and we're back with you on Wednesday, the 28th of February. And moving into next week, we're back Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. And a final episode number 20 on the eve of the Cheltenham Festival. So update your portfolios, and of course, a winner. We will announce the winner of the Road to Cheltenham Challenge viewer competition, which the prize is that VIP trip to the Boylesports Irish Grand National. And we'll announce that winner to what we deem is the healthiest looking portfolio. So keep updating down below. Make sure to give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we're pushing. Let's make a push, Ronan Groome, for 3,000 subscribers before Cheltenham. Why not? So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And just to mention as well that only 40% of our viewership this season have actually subscribed to the show. So plenty of scope for growth, Ronan Groome. Let's see if the scope with our next selections, as I do all season. Let's give you the honours. Who are you going with for your week 14 selection?
It's the first handicap play for me. I know I'm trying to wait for the weights to come out, and obviously that's the thing to do when you're playing in handicaps, but I just think I like this horse a lot in the plate. It's Crebilly for John Joe O'Neill and JP. I can just see this one going off half the price he is there. I think he could be a 3-1 shot on the day. He's only had the 3 runs. He'd be a perfect contender for the old novices handicap chase that used to be at the festival. It was a great race on the first day. Just one of those races that you have a good record in, and was always a really competitive one. Alas, he would has to go for the plate now in open company, but I still think he has a huge chance. He fell just jumping alongside Ginny's Destiny on his first run over fences, 2.5 miles on the old course. Earlier on this season. Ginny's Destiny is obviously rated 155 now. He's rated 140. He was fourth to Ginny's Destiny then on his next start at the December meeting. That was a fine run. Then at Exeter, he beat Timuris in a really good race, I think. Timuris has done that for him absolutely no harm at all at the weekend. He ran a huge race just to be beaten by Blow Your Wad at Kempton. And I just think a mark of 140 here for Crebilly. I think he could have at least 6 or 7 in hand of that. He's progressive, obviously, as well. He's only had 3 starts. He's actually had 9 starts in his life. Loads of scope to progress. Course form, which I think is so important for the 2.5 miles around Cheltenham, that intermediate trip. He's got it. And albeit he fell, obviously, but he was about to run a really good race there. The first day against Ginny's Destiny, and when he came down, I think he could have gone close to winning. So he's got the course form, he's got the scope to improve, and in any case, I think he's well handicapped as well. I just think he sets a pretty strong case or standard of what he offers you in the place. So I wanted to get him in the team.
Yeah, this morning, Ronan Groome, when I was sitting down to pick my selection, would you believe it, I was split between 2, and Crebilly was 1, and I sided with the other, which I'm just about to mention. So we could have agreed for the 3rd time on the podcast this season. We already have played snap already with, of course, Factified 7-1 for the Brown Advisory. That looks good. And we also agreed as well with Jade the Grugy, which we both put up at 10-1. So both of those are looking well. I didn't look at. I've gone with the bigger value horse in this particular show, and I've gone with Chantry House in the green and gold for the Pertemps final, 10-1. That's enhanced out from 8-1. There's been nibbles of support for this throughout the day as well. Chantry House, I think it was as big as 12-1 earlier on, or yesterday afternoon. So it has come for a little bit of support. But Boylesports are going to hold 10-1 for customers. If you do head over to the Boylesports website, it's in under National Hunt and Champ.ie price boosts, and you can avail of that 10-1 price boost, which I think looks a really good price run. One of the interesting stats in the Pertemps is only 2 of the last 22 winners, Ronan Groome, have actually won a qualifier. So I think you need to be siding with horses in this that maybe haven't showed their full hand this season. I think Chantry House is just that. And I mean, just look at the likely runners in this particular race. I mean, I could see on the day Chantry House easily looking like the classiest animal, in off a very workable mark, 143. I mean, he's a 10-year-old who's only had 18 career starts in his life. Had a little bit of an issue 2 seasons ago when he suffered a neck injury, and was actually quite lucky to come back and get into the full of his health. He had his wing corrected as well. But prior to that, Ronan Groome, I mean, he was third in the Supreme Novices Hurdle. He's a dual Grade 1 winner over fences. Obviously won the Cotswolds Chase and the Turner's Novice Chase at Cheltenham in the past. So he's a festival winner. And both of those big chase wins at Cheltenham were on the new course. So the Pertemps is running the new course. I think it's going to suit him down to the ground. He did finish third on his comeback. We actually tipped him up on the podcast. And I thought he was given a very tender ride by Nico de Boinville over 3 miles at Cheltenham. I think it was back in the November meeting earlier on in the season. And he caught my eye then. He disappointed then on heavy ground at Sandown in a Pertemps qualifier. And last time, just watch it back, Ronan Groome. He snuck into 4th to qualify and travelled the best horse in the race, wasn't given a hard time by James Bowen. And when James Bowen jumped the last in 4th position, his instinct wasn't to get stuck in. His instinct was to look behind him to see how close the 5th was. I thought it was very interesting. And look, I'm sure I'm not the only one that has saw it, but Nicky Henderson has a decent enough record in the Pertemps. I think he won it with Call the Cops back in 2015. Millgreen finished 3rd last year, only beaten 2.5 lengths by Good Time Johnny. Wasn't beaten all that far at the age of 11. So Nicky likes to target one, and with the ground drying out later on in the week as well, I think that's worth noting as well. I just think, look, 7 of Chantry House's 9 career victories have been on, when good has been in the description. So he appreciates a little bit of spring ground. And I liked his run last time to qualify where he finished 4th at Huntington. So 10-1. I wasn't the only one to notice at Ronan Groome, but I do think he could be well treated off 143. 10 years of age. Look, he's no spring chicken, but he's a lightly raced 10-year-old with only 18 career starts. So we have given him a mention before. We got the winner of the Pertemps last year. Let's see, can we do it again with Nicky Henderson's charge? Did he come onto your radar whatsoever?
Yeah, no, I definitely see the case. It's not a race I've delved deep into. I had a couple in mind for it, but did notice the run at Huntington. The sneaky 4th position in there. Well done, James Bowen, patting the back for your pal, and into the Pertemps. £12 lower over hurdles, isn't he, than his chase mark. Festival form in the book. I can 100% see the case for Basil. So it looks like a solid one in at a double figure price. Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it wasn't that long ago that he peaked in around the mid 160s over fences, so could definitely be scoped there. So, yeah, that is episode number 14. Get your selections down below and be on the buzzer as well, because we're back with another episode on Tuesday the 27th. The road to Cheltenham, it's hotting up.
Grangy and Patrick Mullins.
McGree had justified favouritism, but sharp object out in front, ready for John McConnell.